Hello, everyone, and welcome to Out of Nowhere. My guest today is Brandon Thomas. Brandon is a native Texan that boasts non really regional diction, saved the world, oil, boil, soil, and foil. His life in question is all about the presented before him as fact has led him down the fascinating, unique path of self discovery and deep exploration, which he shares in the form of mind expanding conversations with his most remarkable guests on his podcast. Can we please welcome Brandon to the show? Hello there.
Hey, man, you were great. Thank you so much for having me, Bob. I really appreciate you, brother.
How did you first discover Mysterious Universe?
Actually, I am a bit late to the game on podcasts. I figured out what they were in about 2018, 2019, a little later than everybody else. And when I did, I first heard of two or three that I really, really liked, and Mysterious Universe was just top of the list. I was an old school AM radio coast to coast guy for years before that. And so I was very familiar with the formats and exploring the freaky woo woo topics. And these guys just took it to a whole new level as far as I was concerned. Plus, they're Australian. That's my favorite accent. No offense to anybody else. And the guys just do a wonderful job. So I heard about them and just was a huge fan since I'm figured out what they were, and then became a Plus member after this really hilarious show that they did, and continued on with their extra stuff that they had going. And now I'm doing that, which is amazing. It's truly remarkable, man. It's a really wild story.
Do you remember an episode that really hooked you on early?
Yes, there was a Project Camellia, which we also covered as our first free episode on the show. And in that, they detailed that this man was being gaslit or some sort of program by the government. It looked like some sort of gaslighting campaign or something like this. And he claimed he was experiencing invisible ninja midgets running around his house and moving things around and disturbing things and all this, right? And so they teased that for the Plus extension, and then that's when I signed up for Plus, was the invisible ninja midgets. That's what they got me. And it was just brilliant. The way that they cover stuff is wonderful. The topics, are heavy, or they can be, or they're presented as very serious and heavy. But honestly, if you look at a lot of it, there's a lot of humor to be had in it, as well as there's a lot of lighthearted perspectives that can be gleaned from those kind of things.
Do you think Mysterious Universe leans more towards open minded exploration or healthy skepticism?
Open-minded exploration and healthy skepticism. That's the important combo. It's we, like the guys as well, we're not either ors, we're yes and. So we really do our best to take a look at things. We want to believe, we want to see some really cool stuff, and the things that are being claimed we'd like to experience or at least observe for ourselves and form our own opinions about it. It's the in-between things that are convoluted, the attention seekers, things like this that are easy to spot, but also don't necessarily muddy the waters for us. What they do is they add another element to it. They say, okay, well, there's a lot of conversation to be had within this arena. The skepticism needs to be there, but also not to realize that there's babies in bathwater that a lot of folks are throwing out, and to make sure that we get all extracted from all of the points that are made on this. And really connecting things is another big part of this. It's being able to see that some of the UFO phenomena connects with some of the Bigfoot phenomena, and perhaps even mermaids and all kinds of stuff, and not ruling one thing out just because it seems ridiculous. And I think that that's silly anyhow, thinking that it's ridiculous to think something like this is ridiculous to make it connected, because it's all ridiculous, Bob.
Oh, God. What kind of stories from Mysterious Universe fascinates you the most? UFOs, consciousness, cryptids, ancient civilizations, or something else?
And all of it, all the above. I'm telling you, all of the above. Everything about it is so fantastic. And it offers us just really the opportunity to know that this place that we're in is not so rigid. It's not so structured, and that the idea of reality that's been put forth to a great deal of us, this consensus reality, is not so. And it's fascinating to unravel that, and then to sort of walk yourself through what it's like to unravel your stable reality right in front of you, and to be okay with that, and to be open to new things. It's the unraveling of reality that I love, and all of those stories pose that possibility, because when we live in a world of black and white, either or, it's got to be this or that, these stories, all the things you just mentioned, throw gray on them. They offer third doors to the two-door perspective. And that's what's so important here, man, is the perspective. It's making sure that we're not pigeonholed into a black and white world. Let's make some gray out of this.
What do you think aliens want from us?
Oh, well, that's a huge question, because the question really sort of comes back to your perspective of reality, right? Of what is this place? What are we in? What's our relationship to it? And in that sense, we've heard stories of other entities that seemingly have technology and all of these kind of things. And then what is our relationship to those things? And where do they fit into the grand picture, right? If we follow some of the narratives down, some of my favorites are, Hollow Moon and crypto terrestrials, like they've been here forever. One of the more fascinating things I think about, the more that I look at this and the more I look at the work of Ken Wheeler and all of these folks who talk about electromagnetism and toroidal fields and things like this, and coupling that with the idea that we're probably not on the spinning ball that we've been led to believe. Let's just say that maybe it's not a spinning ball. Now, I'm not a flat earther, but I am a critical thinker. And when we get down to some of even the narratives, when it comes to extraterrestrials, it seems that there's, I don't want to say a fog or a conspiracy around everything, because you'd like to think that if something's extra and it's coming and it's making contact with human beings on what we presume to be a completely different realm, then they're going to be honest with you and they're going to be forthcoming about where they come from. But let's say, for instance, Bob, that it's really all time travel, okay? And that there's only one place we can be, which is the same exact land that we habitate now. It just goes through these cycles of death and rebirth. It goes through these waves, like the Hopi said. It's been destroyed 4 times. We're going into our 5th destruction now. The ant people pulled them underground, saved them, and then we're able to re-emerge. And it's interesting when you sort of play all of these different concepts, that if it is time travel, then no, an alien wouldn't probably want to let you know that time travel is possible in a time period in which it's not supposed to be. So they would just tell you that they come from another star system or something like this, as to not allude to the true technology here, which may be more fantastical. It's still the idea of you can't reach it because it's so far away, but it also presupposes the ball narrative, and that space is what we've been led to believe, which is the things out in the narrative that are yelling at you, this is what reality is. I have learned to turn 180 degrees around, and that's where the truth is. I think that there's a huge push in this reality in general, politics, medical, education, you just take your pick, especially the established systems that tell you what the realm is and how it functions. Those things need to be discerned for ourselves and abandon this idea that the correct answers have already been established and they've already been figured out. And what's more is that we can trust all of them. So really, this is about sovereignty, self-discernment, self-governance, but it takes asking these big questions about these really wild things to then bring you back home to look around at this place where you find yourself and go, this is very different. And it's probably a big mirage being pulled over our eyes. And the truth is here. It is. It's just most likely not what the main narrative is yelling at you that you must believe it to be. We've got a comment up here.
Yeah.
Evening, Brandon.
This is from Mason. Brandon, do you believe that aliens are here already?
Man, what's really going to trip you out is, the stories of that aliens they can look just like us. So who's to say that you're not the alien? And that really, when you were born here, your mother was the first generation here, or maybe a couple generations ago, it was the first generation, let's say the World's Fair, turn of the century. And that really we were brought here on a spaceship. They destroyed the indigenous folks that were already here, or whatever animals were here, and then they seeded with us. It would be the best ploy ever. It would be hiding in plain sight, because of course you wouldn't feel that you were the oppressor of the land or the invader of all of this stuff, but you could be. As far as aliens in general, it's an interesting, because the word covers so much, and it again depends on sort of what you think reality is. Now, obviously, some folks are having some interactions with something. We cover way too much. I've read way too many stories. There's far too much evidence to say that nothing's going on. But as far as the little green men from other places, I think it's far more likely that there is a high technological society probably living underground, and that it knows that space is actually through the ocean, and that the oceans, and there's probably heaps of civilizations down there. And really, when you get into the law of densities, you're now talking about different densities of liquid, which our air is a different density of liquid. You can extract molecules out of it, water molecules out of it, and drink from it. So are we just the bottom of somebody else's ocean? And is that really what space is? It's these type of questions. And What I've really done is do my best to abandon the presuppositions. So again, the idea that aliens are here, yes, of course. There is something amazing here that does contact us, but I think that we're looking in the wrong direction. I think if we look out there, it's not there. I think it's much more, all the interesting shit's below us and in the oceans.
Do you believe there are limits to human perception or just limits to conditioning?
Oh, God, what a great question. Bob, is that your question? Did you write that?
Yeah.
God. Bob, that's a solid question. You guys give him props. And thank you. I'm glancing at the chat every now and then. I appreciate you. And you can't prove that you're not an alien, Mason. I would say the limits to perception are based on programming. And the more that I unlock the programming, the more my perspective of everything unlocks. It's like the Dr. Wayne Dwyer quote, great quote, that the more you change the way you look at things, the more the things you look at change. And this is the crux of it. This is where it really gets to, because if there's no point to exploring new ideas if you don't come away changed from it. And really my biggest belief in this realm, if I have one, because knowing is, belief is the enemy of knowing. So to have beliefs is also to subscribe to an ideal. And the biggest ideal I subscribe to that I've really thought a lot about and felt into is the idea of temporary truths. The idea that everything here that you feel so certain about is very temporary and will change with new information. At least you'll grow, you'll change your perspective, something like this. Now, the issues and where we get stuck in a lot of stuff and where perspectives get a little muddied is when we cling to an idea or a belief so tightly because all of our, existence is predicated on this thing being true for us. Then that's where the biggest danger comes in. And that's where you get stuck in the ruts. That's where you're unable to take in new information with new eyes and just see it as something new and add it to a piece and progress. Rather, you argue your belief over and defend your belief over the new information. And that's really the trick there. And really what I think it's all about, this entire place, if you really boil it down, it's two things. It's the realms constantly asking you two questions. Number one, who are you? Who are you? Are you this awesome podcast host? Are you a kind parent? Are you are you a wonderful, loving friend? And then it's going to throw you the second question in the form of experiences. Are you sure? So it's asking you, who are you? And then it's going to constantly ask multiple follow-up questions of, are you sure? Let's say you say, yes, I'm a podcast host. It's going to go, okay, well, we're going to plummet your followers. You're not going to make money on this. You need to work a job. You have to really prove to yourself and the world that you are ready for this by it not being easy and being completely removed from you. It's this trial by fire element that really allows us to alchemize this place. And it's very important, highly important. So philosophy is going to lead to your perspective, but you got to constantly question it. And that's the big thing there. Not remove the attachment to the ideas. Just let it go.
There's a question from Joanne here. Hi, Brendan. Do you think there's advanced civilization that exists within the hollow earth?
I love this one so much. And then the question is, well, what makes you think that we're not inside of an earth? Because from some perspectives, we live on the inside of a ball, meaning that then rings and spheres of existences ring out from us. And then therefore, really, there's sort of another sphere on the inside of this. Now, the hollow earth perspective is fascinating because it doesn't need to be a huge ball of the central sun. Truly, there are vast cavern systems within the earth. And we know about the DUMBs and the deep underground military bases, these alleged high-speed maglev trains that can connect you from Brazil to the UK in 20 minutes, stuff like this. It's these kind of things. That's why I think the real stuff is underground. If you look to Elon Musk's Boring Company, he named it Boring because it's two reasons. Number one, he's boring into the earth, but two, he wanted you to think that it was so, oh gods, it's lame. There's nothing down there. There's no even, look at space. I'm doing space too. I shot a car up there. I've got a string of satellites going. The distraction is up there, and for you to keep your eyes up there. But if you take the realm as what it's demanding that you look at, it's the loudest about, and you go 180s away from it, the other direction, just turn around and look the other way, then there's fascinating things to be found there. And this is where we get into mole people and ant people and all sorts of civilizations that could exist within Earth. And one of the greatest arguments for a hollow Earth civilization was, well, when you build a house, you don't live on the roof of it, you live inside of the damn thing. So I thought that was pretty clever. And I've always loved Agartha and the inner Earth and Journey to the Center of the Earth and all that stuff. That I love that because then again, it connects to these ancient civilizations, breakaway civilizations, this sort of system that doesn't need all the bullshit that we have now to survive and is actually doing a lot better. These cool things. It's just fun to think about.
Is there anything about consciousness you think is very spiritual but can be misunderstood sometimes?
God, Bob, you're awesome at this, by the way. You just had such great questions, buddy. Yes, 100%. So what I feel consciousness, where I'm at with it and what I truly feel in my heart of hearts, if I feel into it, intellectualize my way through the paradoxes, all of that, I feel that we are God experiencing what God wants to with this vehicle in this form, with these circumstances, with this roll of the dice. And God then is incarnated in my wife because he wanted to know what it felt like to be married to me with those roll of the dice, with that circumstances. So I really do feel like we're all God experiencing itself subjectively. Now, this is where we get back to the alien stuff, that maybe not every physical entity walking around here is a human being, meaning is occupied by a soul as the expression of God. Because if you think about it, you could follow the idea that there's only really 144,000 of us. Let me just pull a number out of my ass here.
Right.
And that really everybody else is sort of these lizard turd vehicles, atomic or autonomic people just walking around, and animatronic, just robots type of a thing, like a Truman thing. And if you think of the simulation argument, then these entities just sort of render around you so that you don't feel so alone. And it's these kind of ideas, man, that I get really fascinated with. In fact, the thing I think that I fear the most is that my wife actually died a long time ago, and that everybody's too sweet to tell me, and that I see her in my mind and I do all the things that she would do, but I don't know it's me doing it. Like there's a part of my mind that blocks those actions out. So I think it's her, and like my family and everybody's just really sweet about it. Because when you get to the philosophies of this, it's trippy as shit. And especially when you get into the demiurge and that this place is hell and all this kind of stuff. It philosophically, this place it's its own kind of hell, honestly, because it's all paradox at a point, and unfalsifiables, unprovables. There are no experiments designed to let you test what's outside the box from inside the box. And really, when you get to those kind of questions, it's scale at that level. How can I experience the questions I've got and get answers to them, even intellectually, because there are unknown factors that I can't even consider. Those are the things that keep me up, man. That's the crazy shit. God created the earth.
From Dragonborn Rising, do you believe God created the earth and all on it?
Well, it depends again on what God is. What do we if we're talking about sort of a grand architect that designed a simulation, because another paradox to this, or when you get to it again at a level philosophically, one thing that's kind of sad, honestly, is that you are God. You created all of this as a way to scathe off the boredom of eternity. So you basically created a bunch of friends for yourself. You created a wife, a life, a situation. You forgot about all of it because you're sad and alone, and God is truly sad and alone. So technically, again, if God is experiencing this realm through us, we're sort of his hand puppets, and he's just talking to himself just to keep himself from going insane. Or you are God, who has very much gone insane, and you're just sort of marooned in some sort of mental realm that you continue to create, but you don't know. Again, these things are scary as shit to me. So if I'm optimistic, then we consider all of it, like the dark and the light. Like I'm not going to run into everything's going to work out, it's all love and light, without also letting everyone know that we're doing gray here. It's not all white and black. There's both to be considered. So it could be either or, but what's beautiful about the experience of that is knowing that it's either or and all the above, because it's so vast. To say God is one thing and not the other because we find it unpalatable, and that's, it's emotionally, I guess, immature is what I would say. But I feel that there's some sort of creator to this place. I don't know, again, if it's a digital simulation, we're all AI becoming self-aware, if it's a God creating and experiencing through us because it's bored and doesn't want to go crazy, or if, yes, we're tied up in some mental institution and this is all just in our mind, brain in a vat idea. But I would like to say, with the way that the realm performs, if you just go out and look at it, it is definitely a clock. It works on a schedule. There is predictability to it. There is seasons to it. There's ebb and flow. There's when one thing is disturbed, a correction is made. It's very interesting the way that nature is so well harmonized. I will say that. And so to say that I think that all happened because of rare circumstance, again, take the idea, turn 180, it's got to be somewhere in between there. I don't think it's a God that created us. It's upset at you for touching your wiener. And I also don't think that we're on some Satan-filled ball of fire that is hell. I think it's somewhere in between. I think it's yes and. I think it's all of those things in one. And God is going to allow you to feel into any of those desires that you'd like. And that's why the scope exists, because it's got to exist for you to be able to experience it and any variation or palette of it, right? So I do feel that there's a creator to this place. That, yeah, especially just looking at the astrology, the way the realm functions, again, seasons, things like this, the way it flows between tropic Cancer, tropic Capricorn, this spiral type pattern as it goes up and down above the realm. It's very interesting.
Why do you think altered states feel more real than ordinary waking consciousness?
Why do I think what feels more real?
Altered states.
One more time.
Right. Why do you think altered states feel more real than ordinary waking consciousness?
Got you. I think what may be happening there, and apologies, I think I was having an issue with my earbud. What may be happening there, and this is what's interesting that kind of ties back to a question you asked earlier about perception and being limited and programmed. If you've taken psychedelics, you know that the second that it kicks in, whatever that means, there is a filter, it feels, that's either been removed or there's a superpower vision that you've been given. We know that our vision only works within a certain light spectrum, and that it's very narrow banded as far as the light available, that we can have instruments that detect other animals that they can see, infrared, ultraviolet, these types of things. And our vision, and not only our vision, but what you can see limits your ability to process what's actually happening. So if you've got a very narrow band of focus, even visually, you're going to focus you could potentially be focused narrow banded. But psychedelics, what they do is they offer you this expanded state of awareness that shows you that there are alternate perspectives here, and that you can see the same exact alleged realm all around you, but man, it looks different. The walls are melting, people's faces are different, the colors are so vivid and bright. And then, like any other color you've got, your senses just expand to 11, man. It dials up to 11. Everything is so sensitive. The touch, sounds are amazing, which means music is incredible. You can hear what the artist truly was trying to convey in that. And then you come back and you're back to baseline, and then you're like, whoa, what was that? And it's an interesting thing, because in those experiences, depending on the type of altered state you're in, DMT offers you just a wild ride, man. There's machine elves there, there's spirit beings, there's a council of grandmothers, there's all kinds of shit in there. But what is that? Are those things all around us all the time? But if we could see them, would it deter us from our mission? Because if you were tripping balls constantly, I don't think that's a good idea. You've got to go to the store, you got to eat. This body needs to be worked out, it needs to be cleaned. You got to go to the DMV, you got things to do, right? So if we were constantly tripping balls and seeing the world that way, which is an experience to us, we know this. You could take it, you could do it. They've done studies with putting people on extended DMT trips. Dr. Rick Strassman did this in DMT, the spirit molecule. And so you could maintain an altered state, but the thing is quality of life. And this really brings us back to, honestly, everything about this place. You can go nuts with an idea and a perspective, but does it make your life better? You can fear the shit out of the government and believe everything you see on TV. Does it make your life better? All of those options of experience are here for you. And really what it's about is allocation of energy. This is what I really feel this entire realm is about. It's sharpening your sense for discernment and what your energy is actually worth, where your attention is necessary and where it's not. Because what your attention goes to animates and fills, like those balloons at a carnival when you shoot the clown in the mouth with the water pistol, and then it fills the balloon up, and then whoever gets it full the fastest, it bursts. That's everything around you and your attention. It's the news. Oh, cool. I'm going to stare at it, and then it fills up. And that's you offering power and energy and making sure that that thing continues safely. That's what makes the world go around. So if you don't, incidentally, like anything in your life, stop looking at, disoblige it altogether. Stop paying attention to it. And then, walk through what you hear in your mind and feel in your body whenever you decide to make that decision, because that's the programming.
Correct, yes. What practices help you stay grounded when exploring expansive ideas?
Cannabis, and honestly, grounded. That's a great, because I don't know that it's necessarily important to stay grounded when you're researching topics, because their goal is to pull you out of the programmed groundedness that we've been experiencing. Now, what I do like is that, I've got a beautiful, wonderful wife who is my rock. And what I like about this is when I'm off on my forays here, she is the string and I'm the kite. I'm just up there flying around, but I've got a grounded, wonderful queen that I know has got my back. And she lets me really fly and play. And then the same is true. I'm sometimes a string, she's a kite, girl, get it. And it's this freedom and expansion, but also knowing that we're safe, which really allows for the best exploration, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has your worldview ever made life harder instead of easier?
Oh God, Bob. Only every single time the worldview changes and enhances. It's a new integration. It is new. What the fuck? It's new. Oh man, I had paperwork filled out on that. Or oh man, I was really invested in that idea. Or, it's yes, definitely. And especially, growing up when you're in your adolescent years and you're in the, you don't know, dad, I'm not going to have your life kind of years, then it's a very combative time because your worldview is not, it's changing so rapidly, but it's based from a, number one, a hormonal and then very selfish point to where you really don't have, I don't feel the environment that backs a really radical change in the view of society. But I think that that's on purpose. I feel that if you're the black sheep in your family, you're the one here to heal that line, right? That kind of like your ancestors all before you came in, they sort of gave you a bag or a token or something. They're like, here, make sure you clear this out for me, or like a task. And then you wear this stuff because you're the one strong enough to be able to question the worldview and to break out of it, which is what's necessary. I've got, two brothers and a mom and a dad. They're wonderful folks, absolutely wonderful folks. We don't talk about the same things, right? They're not into this, but I know that that's my role in this family. And that's awesome. I wear it proudly. I really feel that your parents were actually here to fuck you up, pun intended, French, pardon it. But their job was to actually screw you up so royally that you were so hurt that you could then make something beautiful out of it and then help other people and then in turn help them. And that's the true grace and beauty in all of it. But if they're doing their job right, they really screwed you up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Has hosting Expanding Reality changed you as a person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything about this changes me as a person. And when I hosted Expanding, because I just did the last episode, came out in December. We did a 2-parter doing the announcement, and then that was it. It was episode 398, I think, or 338, something like that. Anyway, 330 some episodes. Also, guys, if you'd like to go to the Patreon, everything over there is absolutely free. Now that I'm the host with my buddy Joe Hodgson of Mysterious Universe, which we are all stoked about. Let me know in the chat if you guys had ever heard of Mysterious Universe before this, and you guys heard about the Switch, and that you knew that I was the new host, one of the new hosts. It's hosting Expanding was sort of like a dojo. It really let me figure out how to speak on mic, how to do audio, how to do graphics, right? Because Bob, you know this, man, you gotta be a damn graphic designer to have a podcast, don't you? All of those types of things, and then really being able to listen well and to speak with folks about really interesting topics and learn and expand from them. So yes, it was a dojo that grew my skills. And now what I'm doing is Mysterious Universe. And it was funny because it was really petering out. I kind of lost my flair for it. Bob, do you ever go through that? You just kind of get burnt out.
Oh God, yeah. Times change sometimes. You think, oh God, I've got to do another show tonight. And then, but once you get into it, you're all right.
Mm-hmm. You nailed it, dude. So got that. And then, yes, that's when that's when Mysterious Universe came about. So that's been amazing. And we just put out an episode today, actually. So you guys can go check that out on mysteriousuniverse.org and go sign up for the Plus membership, too, because that's where we're having a lot of fun. Just did one on Inside UFOs. I covered one of Preston Dennett's stories out of one of his books.
Oh, yeah, Preston Dennett.
Love him, huh? Shout out, Mr. Dennett. And then Joanne3456. Yes, our childhoods / upbringing has been good training for today's bullshit. That's the point, guys. But the point is not to bring your mom and dad's voice, their patterns, their habits into the situations of today's bullshit. That's why we have today's bullshit, by the way. That's the important part. And one of the, I guess, inventory allocations for me is to figure out there would be somebody in my head that would pop up when I would go for a particular bold thing, or I'd make a pretty interesting leap or something like this. And I realized that it was one of my parents. It was one of them going, no, you shouldn't because, or, oh, you better this because, right? And once I dealt with that and I conversated that and I said, no, this is why we're here. This is what we're doing. That's when I was able to deal with today's bullshit, because today's bullshit, honestly, is the shit between your ears. I will tell you guys, if you're honest with yourself, the scariest fucking thing here is right between your ears, right behind your eyes. That's the final boss. It's the only thing holding you back. It's the savior that's going to save you. It's the thing telling you not to do the thing that will save you. It's everything. The final boss is right here. If you really look at this place as a mental realm, because it responds that way, then that's where it comes down to. And you get into this idea of, oh, I've been attacked by archons and I've got voices and spirit attachments. And okay, well, those are teachers. Those are educators here. And those things in your mind push you in a certain direction. Surviving it is part of the training here. And it's very interesting when you start to look at the world this way. The mind is all. It's a mental realm. To free yourself from this mental slavery. It's just the fear of any of it. That's the devil, honestly. That's it.
Yeah. This is a good question, this is.
I'm certain of it, Bob. You've been crushing this, dude.
Do you ever censor yourself for fear of being misunderstood?
No, I got over that a long time ago. I used to, man. You know, it was one of those, oh, I have to be right kind of things, right? Oh, no, I know I'm certain I'm right. And man, just get over that. The best part about that is because you know what really helped me with this? I get to give everybody the key to this. Go read Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. He came out with, you know, The Mastery of Love, The Fifth Agreement, all these, the Four Agreements. It's about 115 pages, double space. It'll take you, I don't know. I'm not trying to judge anybody on how fast they read. What I'm saying is there's a chapter in there. One of the four agreements is to not take things personally. And one of the best things that I learned from that was not to take it personally either way. Okay. So let's say that I come up to you, Bob, and I'm like, man, you're awesome. You're doing great. And you go, oh, that's wonderful. And it fills your ego up a little bit. And now you think you're a little bit cooler and better. There's nothing wrong with it. But the truth of it is it had nothing to do with you. I could have easily just come up to you and been like, Bob, you're a piece of shit. Apologies, Bob. It was just for the example. I don't mean that. But it had nothing to do with you. It could have been that I was having just a shit day, whatever, right? Now, the interesting part about this is compliments and insultplements, just let them go. Let them burn off. And this comes again with the idea of expecting others to understand you, to get where you're coming from. Because again, Bob, you know this, is as we go through this, we really start to scale up to larger and larger concepts. I mean, I'm able to throw around things like simulation, hollow earth, aliens, extraterrestrials, consciousness, and you and I just flow this out. Nobody needs training. Nobody needs background on most of this stuff. But the interesting part about it is this is the next step. This is what we call butterfly ideas. And you can't introduce butterfly ideas to caterpillar minds. And this is one of the trickiest ones to really get to. Yes, you're right. Yes, these things are real. Look, you've got the documentation. Look, I get it. The people you're screaming it at don't have the ability to receive and process it. This is really the trick. But they have two eyes and two arms and a leg and a mouth, and they've got a brain, and they drive a car. They're breeding, for God's sakes. How can they not see the simple truths of these things? Well, that's the point. It's all perception. And this actually goes to your RAS, your reticular activating system, which by definition filters out useless information as to promote or highlight useful information. And when we look at the medical definition of that bundle of neurons inside of your mind that your thoughts and images and everything processes through, there's two subjective words in there. And those two words are useful and useless. You or somebody else programs what's useful or useless for you to see in your reality at any given time. Let's say that you don't think aliens are real, that you don't feel that your government's doing horrible, slimy shit to you, and you just don't conceive of it. It's not even in your realm of possibility. Then it happening right in front of you is not going to register. Your reticular activating system is either going to replace it with something else. Maybe this is what screen memories are in some folks, or it's not going to show you it at all. You're just going to skip right over it. You're going to see the roses and daisies, and that's it. And then you're continuing to train your RAS to disregard new information and to defend your beliefs. And that's the danger, guys. That's it. And this is, again, where it's in your mind, because it's scary for people to rewrite their identity or to feel that the way that they've been looking at life is wrong, which obviously it would be. We've all been programmed to see it wrong. Everything's inverted out here. If you look at the sigil of Lucifer, it's the same exact way that our eyes work. So again, it's all inversion. It's left, right. Light comes in the right eye, registers in the left brain. It's backwards and upside down when it sees you. Like, it's all backwards here. So again, look at everything, flip it upside down, turn around, look the other way. there's truth over there.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
There's a question from Dragonbone Rising. What do you believe happens to us when we die? Where does the soul go?
Great name, Dragonborn Rising. What happens to us when we die? Where does the soul go? You know what's fascinating too, dude? We just released the BRB Dying, the Science of NDEs. Today, my co-host Joe came up with that title. I love that. BRB Dying. And it's about near-death experiences. So go check it out again, mysteriousuniverse.org. And when you look at stories like that, what I find most interesting is how people relate their body, their vessel, their relationship to it. There's one story that I remember reading quite a while back that was somebody who had a near-death experience. They collapsed, their body hit the ground, they were floating above it, right? This classic story. But what was remarkable about it was when they looked back down at their body, they felt like no emotion to it whatsoever. They felt like it was a bunch of clothes that they had taken off from the day and just discarded. So it wasn't a big deal. So if you think about that, think about how many cars you've had throughout your life, right? Bob, how many cars do you think you've had throughout your life?
None.
None? Oh my God. All right. Anybody in the chat? How many cars have you had in there? Okay. How about pairs of shoes? Okay. Think about that. How many pairs of shoes you had in your life?
Loads and loads.
Quite a bit, right? So let's say that the soul is like a life and that your body, this vessel, and the experience it's having here is like a pair of shoes. And eventually they're going to get old and wear out. You may be able to fix them. There may be some new technology where you can resole them. But then it gets to the question about the old axe metaphor, right? Whenever you get a new axe, you go in after about a year, the handle splits, so you put a new handle on it. After a couple more years, the head chips up, so you put a new head on it. And then you keep repeating this process. Well, the question is it the same axe? And if you are thinking about your body as a vessel that's used as a vehicle for God, for the divine to do whatever it seeks to do here. And honestly, it's creation. We're going to get to my theory on the Trinity here because I think it's very important. I really do feel it's creation. And what's great is for the type of creation you were set up to do here, for your whatever, you have the perfect body for it. The perfect body. All you need to do is just remember that. Remember it like sunlight. It likes to move around. It likes to move because that's what our body's designed to do, is play, right? And that's one of the greatest things too. If you guys are feeling stuck, depression hates a moving target. Keep that in mind. So if you're feeling stuck, sit down, do some push-ups, go outside, go for a walk, something like that. If you're moving, depression can't get you. It's a sedentary bastard. So the soul, I feel, is just one of these things that sort of taps into a body. And where does it go is, I honestly feel, up to you. Now let's talk about, though, one of the considerations here is after you die. Bob, have you heard about don't go to the light? Have you heard about that?
Well, I've heard about it, yeah.
If
you want to go to the light, go to it.
Yeah, if you want to go to the light, go to it. But even Alex Coyer, Hollow Moon guy, call back to earlier, said that if you get to the point where you're being called to the light, if you turn around as your soul there, if you think to turn around, then you will see a vast universe and your home will light up to you, and you just say home or think home, and you will shoot straight there. Allegedly, the light at the end of this experience, whatever that is the moon, right? And it's a soul trap that then funnels through Saturn, and then this is where the black cube Saturn worship cult comes in, and then you get recycled back in here, my memory wiped, and then into a new set of circumstances, which we know what that looks like here. But that may not be the only avenue. It's just one more interesting thing to think about, that whenever, because with that consideration, right, Dragonborn, once you die, you've got to sort of be on your toes a little bit. You got to throat chop grandma when she comes at you, trying to say that everything's love and light, and to step into the tunnel. You got to be like, grandma, I know what this is. You're an Archon in disguise, and freaking throw a bow at her and then turn around and run the other way, maybe. But I like to think that really this is a temporary state of disempowerment that we're wearing like a suit, sort of like in the movies whenever people want to be better surfers, they grab a big rock and run under the ocean with it because it weighs them down and it gives a lot of resistance, but it makes them very, very strong. I feel that this is a similar experience to what we're having here, but that's from the perspective of the occupant. Really, I feel that the Trinity is what we're doing here, which is the creation. You have you, the creator, right? The creator created creators, which is you. And you have the inspirational palette, which is everything else. And then you have the third thing, or the Trinity, which is what you create out of it. And so you can either say that, man, that breakup was horrible and it's going to tank me and I'm going to become an alcoholic, or you can write an album about it, write a song about it, write a book about it, right? It's about creation from it. And that's the true alchemy there. That's lead to gold, right? The things that weigh you down like lead, you're able to alchemize and turn into something not only light, but valuable and attractive and beautiful. But that's the whole point. That's why shit exists. That's why things suck. Because if it didn't, you wouldn't be motivated to do anything. You wouldn't have inspiration. You wouldn't have context. You wouldn't have a guitar with 6 strings that then you sit down and make those 6 strings do something else. It's really fascinating when you take it to that level of perception, because then it's all great. It's all great. You're learning from all of it. You're creating from all of it. Bring it.
Bring it on. Yeah.
Bring it on.
How do you tell the difference between intuition and projection?
Intuition and projection?
Yeah.
That's a great question, because, man, right? Are you getting somebody else's vibe about you, or is this your vibe? God, Bob, you're just insightful as shit, dude. I would say your intuition, you kind of get this gut. The other you're going to argue with a little bit. You may argue with your gut feeling, but that's from a place of love that will be reinforced, from a place of fear that will be reinforced with love. But I feel the other thing, that if you've got to argue with it in your head, it's not intuition, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. You weren't ready for a short answer, were you? This chat is great, by the way. Everybody's so sweet in here. Thank y'all.
What advice would you give to someone who feels awakened but stuck?
Run towards what scares you. That's been some of the best advice I've ever gotten. Run towards what scares you. The universe rewards the risk taker. I will say this is a fuck around and find out place. That's your job here, is to fuck around, find out. But from what I just said, your job is to create from all of that. So honestly, if you are honest with yourself too, this is an incredibly safe place to learn and grow. You can make mistakes. You learn. There's no such thing as failure. It's just feedback. Oh, I didn't fuck that up. I got feedback from that, and now we'll do differently, or can create better. Or, God, I'm glad that happened, because I never would have thought of things from that perspective if it hadn't. I never would have solved that opportunity in disguise, because there are no problems, just opportunities in disguise. I wouldn't have solved that with that level of thinking had it not occurred in the first place. Like, I really recognize this as a beautiful place. It's not for nothing. There's nothing here that's wrong. It's not broken. The only thing broken is the shit between your ears. That's it. It's a perfect realm for you to discover that in. It really is.
Do you think reality is strange than we currently understand?
Oh, God, yeah. One of them is the idea of consensus reality, that it's all the same thing, that we're all in the same place having the same experience. Because I get further and further away from that every day, especially with what we know, again, about the RAS. You're training it what to see and what shows up in your world. If you walk out into a woods and somebody who's trained their RAS to see the woods, that's it. They're going to see a couple of trees, but they wouldn't be able to describe them in any intimate detail, because they wouldn't make any connection to it. It'd be very clinical left brain. That's what they look like. But if you send us out into the woods, we're going to see mushrooms. We're going to see rocks. We're going to see cool moss that's in the shape of the Hulk. We're going to maybe see a Bigfoot. Like, our RAS is way more geared and wired for a larger expansive experience of opportunity. The narrower the band of the RAS, the no because Jesus said don't do it, or no because the government's going to come get me, or no because blah, blah, blah. Insert whatever limitation you'd like. The limitations are yours. That's it. They're all yours, and they were programmed into you, though. So don't feel like, oh no, I'm a piece of shit, because you're not. The idea here is that you are God, dude. You have so much fucking power, but you can't be given it all right away. Imagine if, a superhero got its power before it was able to walk and talk. If you had this infant walking around with laser vision, you just can't do that. You need to be able to understand yourself, to control yourself, to be a sovereign individual, to tame the beast within you, to usurp and alchemize the programming. That's the ride, man. That's what it's all about. It's deep and fascinating. It really is. And the more I look at it this way, the more I appreciate it, because the more creation comes of it. And then what's fascinating is you don't get the same bunch of bullshit, because it doesn't need to pop up in your life to get your attention. Your attention's focused on where you're deliberately directing it, because you have control of it. You have it yielded in a direction. If you don't, then you're very powerful and idle hands and all, and you need something to do. So the governments of the world, or the whatevers of the world, will make your mind very scared. It'll make it occupied. It'll keep it busy until you can figure out how to use your power. They're all wanting you to do this, by the way. There's no lizard turd here after your soul. They're after your expansion. They're the thing. I really feel that they're all teachers. They're healers. They're the people that show you the rough shit about yourself and challenge you in ways that nothing else could in that way, so that you rise above and see it and feel it and know it. That's the whole point. You can't just be handed this. It's again, it's a deep, fascinating realm. And the more I look at it that way, honestly, the better, again, quality of life. If you think everybody's out to get you and that you're not powerful enough to combat it, or you're some victim of something, that's just a shit. I did that for a while. It was just boring. I got boring, Bob.
What's your thoughts on people who experience missing time?
God, I love this. Your audience, everything. Dragonborn, bring it. Okay, missing time is a fun one for me. For everybody, right? I'm going to go ahead and say this, though, that our dear departed friend, Robbie Graham, do you remember Robbie? He's no longer with us. Robbie Graham republished his book, August Night Press. He republished 2 of Bud Hopkins' books, and one of them, Missing Time, and the other one, Intruders, by the way, which I love. Now, Missing Time, very, very cool. I think Missing Time is one of these things with the phenomena that shows you that it's a psychedelic. It shows you that something weird happened to you that you can't explain, that's unconventional, and that got your attention, and that's not, you will never see your life the same ever again. And I think that's the point of it. The point of it is to tug on a thread of the extraordinary, man. It's because if you're just work, home, kids, wife, work, home, kids, wife, work, home, kids, wife, work, home, kids, wife, you get in this rut, right? And that's your pattern. And then all of a sudden you have 3 hours of missing time. Your wife's freaked out. What does that do for your life? It's a pattern interrupter. And if this is a mental realm, one of the best ways to keep neuroplasticity is to pattern interrupt. Take a different way to the store. When you go brush your teeth with the opposite hand, there are many ways that you can do this that will sharpen the way that your mind works in reality. The idea of missing time, though, man, that's a big pattern interrupter. So I feel that it is something fascinating, and it can go multiple ways. Number one, that they themselves had this fascinating time, something interacted with them and removed their experience of their interaction with them from an external source. Let's say block their memory out, something like this, right?
Yeah.
Another possibility is that the people having the experience were so stuck in a rut, were so patterned out that they couldn't imagine what they experienced happening at all, not alone to them, so that they block it out and they create the missing time themselves psychologically because they couldn't bear the idea of that even being possible, number one. Number two, happening to them, especially folks like that, because they're going to have very stable, grounded, we got to watch this sports team, you got to vote for this, there's a very tight-knit community around folks that are towing the line, and they're going to hold you very closely. And when you have an experience outside of that, then it's going to challenge your ability to fit into the tribe that you relate to and are so dependent on. Here's another big reason to be very challenged by having experiences like that. But missing time is one of my favorites because it's subtle. It's a little poke from the universe. It's like, hey, figure this out, dickhead. What happened to you? Explain that. Love it.
Yeah, I do. What do you think scares people more? Aliens, the unknown, or the idea that we're not very special?
I'm going to say the idea blank. The idea of actually that we're not very special, that one, because that sums it up. Because if you feel that you're not very special, you don't feel worthy to explore topics and to question things that you know to be true for yourself. If you don't feel special, you don't feel like you have a voice. You don't feel like you could lead your community in something better for your community. It's the worthiness, man. That's the biggest one right there. And it's all mentally roped. Like they wrangle you. It's the story of the elephants. They'll take an elephant. It's horrible. They'll take a baby elephant. They'll chain it to a pole so it can't move anywhere. The elephant will struggle for years trying to get away from this pole. Eventually, the elephant stops struggling. So what you can do is then just chain it to a plastic folding chair, and the elephant will stand there and starve, thinking that it can't move. This is belief. This is the mind. This is the realm. This is what's been done. All you've got to do is test that chain around your leg all the time. Don't think that there's a pole attached to it forever, because the realm can't sustain that type of limitation. It can't sustain you in that type of imprisonment. It's all in your mind. All it has to do is convince you a couple of times that that's what's going on, and that's it. Our dog, for instance, we got a shock collar for her. Okay. Now, I'm not a shock collar individual.
No.
She had a really challenging thing that we needed to get over. So what I did was I put it on, got her twice, then took the batteries out. Now, whenever I put that shock collar on her, she is the sweetest angel ever, and she's only been tagged by it twice. That's it. It doesn't even have batteries in the damn thing. But she doesn't act up because she remembers what that felt like.
Yeah.
That's programming. Then what's happened around our realm more specifically is the Pavlov's dog idea. You know that story, Bob, about how Pavlov, he rang a bell and he gave the dog food and it began to salivate after it heard a bell. Do you know the second part to that story that most people never tell?
No.
So the second part to that story is the second part to the experiment. Pavlov then walked in, turned a light on, and beat the dog with a stick. So what the dog learned is that when the bell rang, it would go to food for survival. When the light came on, it would run away in fear out of survival. Do you see? Now, what's interesting is the final part to the experiment, and where maybe it's been implemented across the realm is this catatonic state that he was able to identify, where he would run in and turn a light on and ring a bell. And you know what happened? The dog froze. It shut down. It locked up. It couldn't decide to run or stay for food. And this is the whole point, guys. This is the whole damn point of all of this shit. Where is your mind telling you that it's unsafe, or that someone's going to come get you, or that you're not worthy? All of those things. That's the bullshit. That's the bullshit. You're huge, powerful, and amazing, and wonderful, and you know that.
Another question in the chat room. Dragonbone Rise. What about astral travel and out-of-body experiences? Do you believe it's possible?
I'm going to go ahead and say that last question. Do you believe it's possible? Yes, to anything. It has to all be possible for it to be worth a shit. And it's got to be worth a shit because you're here. So this idea of anything being impossible, that's a limitation. And that's only a temporary truth. And that's what's so great about it. Because I know people who will tell you right now that they astral traveled to other people. Preston Dennett has a story of his friend astral traveling to him while he was on the phone. He traveled to her while she was on the phone, looked at him, said, "I'm on the phone," and then went back to talking, and he flew home. They both verified the story, and they were miles apart. So yes, I absolutely feel that is true as well, because again, in the Mysterious Universe we just did, Joe talked about some out-of-body experiences. Every single individual that had a near-death experience, that's the first thing they experience is out of body. And that's what's fascinating, man, is, perhaps possession and spirit possession and walk-ins and things like this prove more than ever that really your soul, or whatever's animating this life force that's animating this physical vessel, is simply just doing that. But really, it's switch outable. If you can hop in somebody else's car and drive that thing, your body is probably pretty much the same. It's just a vehicle to explore. So depending on who's driving it would be what it's capable of doing, right? And the mental capacity of that being operating it. Because who's to say if some being taps into you that has no limits, they could fly around, they could disappear, and it's all with their physical body. There's no limitation there because they don't know that there should be one. Again, it's the idea of the elephant being chained to a pole, or the idea of Bigfoot using trees as portals, or trees being portals. Now, that sounds silly to us because we were trained and programmed that that's not possible, that's silly, that's crazy. You cut them down, you burn them. Guys, that's what we do. But really, if you were never taught that, could you join a Bigfoot and use them as portals? Maybe Bigfoots aren't taught that. They're, maybe taught the other. You don't burn these, and they're not built for homes. Okay, got it. They're just strictly portals. Okay, why do people keep tearing down our portals? It's this idea of limitation based on perception. You nailed it earlier with your question, Bob. That was perfect.
Are there any paranormal stories you wish were not true, but suspect there might be?
The hell thing is a tricky one. The Demiurge Sophia thing, that that one got me for a while. The idea that this is hell. And it's a paranormal story in the sense that your entire realm is a complete lie, and that really the God of the Bible is the devil. And there's like 2 points of scripture I can show you that prove this, with quite a few in between. And it's scary when you look at it from that way, because folks will say, that the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing people he didn't exist. But I would disagree and say that the greatest trick the devil ever probably most likely pulled was convincing everyone that he was the God of this realm and having them all worship him, not knowing who he really was. And I think that this is probably one of the more terrifying paranormal elements, because then that would explain all of the bogus, horrible shit going on here, right? Is if that was what was going on. And again, it's interesting when you look at the scripture, the books that the Christians themselves, and when you can use that to then go, but look, if you read it this way, it negates this whole damn thing, and actually you're worshiping the thing which you seek not to. And that's still getting intention, and it's a tulpa, right? Gods need your attention and belief for them to exist. So if you're not believing in them, praying to them, offering them blood sacrifices in some cases and horrible shit, then they don't exist at all. The question is, why do we need to continue to animate these things at all? Do we need a God that you're constantly praying to that's fallible as well, that are bigger dickheads and have ego issues that you don't possess? And it's just really interesting, again, when you look at things this way. But that's a freaky one for me too, that we're stuck in some sort of hell, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
It gets tricky.
Joanne's got a question for you. I've been looking at eliminating specific words like can't, try, have to, need to, never, using more creative language. It's simple, but not easy.
God, Joanne, you're one of my favorites right here. Again, you have the most amazing audience. I will come do this anytime you want, guys. This is so refreshing. Okay, so let's talk about spell casting. Spell casting is huge and it's important, and your words create your reality by speech. If you start looking at cymatics and what sound does, you look at the work of Dr. Emoto. You look at Veda Austin's work with her freezing water and speaking into it and freezing it and seeing the images, what it does cellularly to a cellular level to you by words alone. Now, what I love about this is take your words as if you are casting spells, okay? Every single time you speak, you are casting spells. It is a super question, Mason. Okay, so think of it this way. Do you know what abracadabra means, Bob, literally?
Gone off my mind a minute.
It's okay. It's Arabic. And what it originates to is as I speak, I create. So what you're doing is every single time you're speaking, you are creating. Now, let's go over some of the words that she said. And I'm going to add some to your list, Joanne. Okay, I got you, girl. Okay, specific words like can't. Can't is a wonderful one because it's, number one, not true. Okay, number one, that's a programmed response to not allow you to rise to the highest version of you. And actually, that's an are you sure? That's a I am this. And then something in your mind goes, are you sure? Because I don't think you can. The I don't think you can is the are you sure? Okay, you guys will start to recognize it. It's those two questions. That's it. It just in repeating. And usually the are you sures are a bunch of them in a row. So trying is a great one. Trying is a verb. If you say that you are trying, you're getting it. That's exactly. Wanting is another one in there too. Trying and wanting are the same states. They're the existent of state of a rocking chair. Okay, a rocking chair will give you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. All right. Trying is I'm trying this, or I'm going to look for this at the store. Well, you're going to get exactly what you want. You're going to go look and look and look and look and look and look and not find. If you're trying, yes, you're getting that result. You are trying, but not, I'm going to wager to say succeeding most of the time, or the times that you would rather. Have to is a great one. You get to, dude. You get to alchemize all this shit. You get to have this experience from this perspective in this time right now. It's fucking nuts. You get to every single time. Those are easy. Switch them out. Need to, again, same thing. Get to. I get to do this. Never is a great one. Always, never, everyone. These are the net casters, as I say it. They're number one and true. Okay, so it's not so. If we look at those words that we were programmed to use, it's not so. So first, what we have to do is be honest with ourselves and know that we can trust ourselves. The biggest thing here is your ability to say what you mean and mean what you say. Okay, I'm going to give you a really easy exercise. This changed my life, okay? Take your age, how old you are, and do it in push-ups every single day for 21 days. Commit that to yourself. Say, I am going to do my age, however old I am. I'm 43, so I do 43 push-ups every single day for 21 days. Now, all you have to do is that number in a 24-hour period. You can break it up, do 10 here, do 20 here, whatever. Do it for 21 days. If you don't make it to the 21-day mark or you miss a day, start over. It's no big deal. That's not failure. It's feedback. What feedback you're getting is that you can't trust yourself. This is a big one, guys. This is a big one. Can you trust the things that you say that you're going to do for yourself, especially something you don't want to? Nobody wants to do their age of push-ups every day. I don't care. I never want to do it, by the way. I'm never like, oh, hell yeah, I'm doing this. I hate it every time. I'll be honest. I hate it every time.
It's like New Year's resolutions.
Well, and we can talk about New Year's too. New Year's hadn't happened yet. It'll happen in March. But let's definitely talk about that. But you still have time is what I'm saying. You can ramp up for the next 2 months until the new year and hit that new year running strong in March when we actually hit it. There's a calendar inversion, and that has to do with the realm being silly, but we can absolutely talk about it. So the push-ups, make sure that you can know yourself and trust yourself. Okay. Now you incorporate the alternative words. Okay. And do this at the same time, guys. One of the big ones too, I'll give you a couple other ones, is busy and productive. Okay. I'm not busy ever. Again, that's a rocking chair. It'll give me something to do. Doesn't get me anywhere. I'm productive as all get out. You asked how my day was? Man, it was productive. God, it was so productive because it was. That's the point. Another one is sick. My wife and I, we were never sick. That's a cuss word around this house. You are purging or healing. That is it. We live in a realm that sprays shit on you. There's shit in the water. There's shit in the food. There's shit in the mind all the time. You're purging. And so when you need to come across a purge, great, purge out, but you're not sick because that's a disposition. That's a state that your body recognizes and it will attach to and hang on to because you're casting a spell that's what it should do. And that's the state it should experience. It's very literal, guys. It's simple, not easy because you were trained to say things the other way. I'll give you another one. Sorry. Sorry is one that we do not say around this home. We'll apologize if it's needed, but the word sorry is a verb. That's a disposition. That's a state. That's a spell that you're casting on every single fiber of your being to exist in that state. The state of sorry, of not worthy, of taking up space, of not being, shouldn't be here. I'm not valuable. Bullshit. You were trained to say that. I know, because I was too. This is one of the trickiest ones, but also it's one of the ones that you're going to hear the most. Go out to the store, somebody turns around, bumps. Oh, S words just start flying. And it's just like, oh, God, no, you're not. Every time somebody drops one in front of me, I say, no, you're not. So the word thing is a huge one. So remember, everyone, abracadabra, as I speak, I create. Never say any unkind words about yourself and never say any unkind words about others. Because think about this as well. You're casting spells on all the characters in your reality. Every time you speak that they are this, that, and the other, they must show up as this, that, and the other, even if they don't want to, because you're the spellcaster shot caller here. Be very deliberate with your words. And again, don't get frustrated. I'm not going to give you a color book and color it in here, but you will find more so that you're going to catch words, and that's okay. It's kind of think of the Abraham Hicks thing. It's 11 seconds. If you focus on something for 11 seconds, that's when it's powerful and going on. But if you can, even as you speak the sentence, grab it and put it back in your mouth. Say, I'm the law of forgiveness. Grab it. Say, no, it's not what I meant. Grab it. Put it back. So yes, spellcasting is huge. I could recommend a couple of books, actually. Florence Scovel Shinn. If you want to look up any of her stuff, there's The Word is Your Wand, which is wonderful. Another one would be Word Magic by Pao Chang. There's P-A-O Chang. There's a second edition on Amazon that you guys can get. And those two books right there are wonderful. A lot of the spell casting as well comes into government. And this is one of the biggest ones, guys, is when you look at the Latin and you look at the way that the government, legalese, let's say, and the language written and how it's presented. Did you know the word person does not mean people? It means legal entity. So it's a legal entity or a corporation. So when somebody calls you a person, they're calling you a vessel for commerce. And that's what your all capitalized name is. It's a vessel for commerce. But that's my name. It's spelled like that. How can that be? These are the interesting parts, but it's all in language. Just like Jesus said, through your words you are condemned and through your words you are freed. And that is very true. Chains are around you, but your words are the ones that put them there. Janice, do you want to bring up this April Fool's thing real quick? Bob, do you mind?
No, I don't mind. No.
So isn't April the new year? Yes. So one of the interesting perspectives about this is the Gregorian adaptation of the calendar, because calendars and your sacred ability to keep time with the realm in which you find yourself is very key for your connection to this place and really to understanding this realm and your relationship to it. If you feel that the world around you, the one that makes calendars, the one that tells you when to get up and when to change your clocks twice a year, if you think that they've gotten it sorted, then go ahead and continue on that. If you'd like to look into a little bit of the history of it, there's a Roman god named Janus. And Janus is what January, the month of January, is named after. It has two faces, one in the front, one in the back, usually depicted with a key. You know Janus? And Janus is the gatekeeper, right? So if you look at this, and even if you look into the naming of the months, look at September, that's 7, right? October is 8, November 9, December Decade 10. Then we have 2 more months to go. Why are we ending the year and letting balls fall in, the New York City and popping champagne? We still got 2 months to go. And why would you have your New Year's celebration in the middle of winter when the rest of winter is shut down? They're not doing anything. The trees are all asleep. The grass is dormant. It takes its cues from winter, and so should we. It's pulling us into this cram schedule in the middle of when we should be shut down. It's another adaptation, and it's a bastardization, honestly. So what Janice wrote there about the New Year, April Fool, yes, that's absolutely true, is that the people who celebrated the New Year when Aries rolled the calendar, which is, in my opinion, when it feels most intuitive to celebrate a New Year's would be in spring. And when the first of the zodiac hits, then those people were called April Fools, or people were called fools because they stuck to the circadian rhythm of the realm and they weren't on board with the bastardization. They didn't fall for the foolish people who did move their calendar, which were really the fools. Do you see how it's inverted?
Yeah.
Another thing is the JFK assassination. The CIA coined the term conspiracy theorists for anybody questioning the official narrative as to turn them away from it because they didn't want to feel like conspiracy theorists. It's a bad thing. I'm not going to fit in. But really, those people should have been questioning something. There was something there to question. So again, they're going to grab it. They're going to label you as something. All you've got to do is tell them to fuck off, man. Who cares? Who cares? Stand up straight, put your shoulders back, know what's right for you. Move forward.
Right,
beautiful question, guys. Beautiful question. This is a wonderful, wonderful crowd.
Another question here before we go. How important is humor when covering strange or heavy topics?
Humor is important in everything. Everything. The things that are couched under too serious to laugh about, those are the ones you need to laugh about the most. There are a lot of things that attempt to make you feel a certain way. And if you find humor is a valid way to express disdain for that reality, fucking bring it on. It's a beautiful way to usurp this bunch of nonsense. Folks are going to try to, oh no, it's too serious. You can't joke about that. Yeah, you can. It's either all okay or none of it's okay. And that's the point. It's about freedom. It's about being able to speak openly and from an authentic place. And you've got to be able to do that. So humor is the important, I think it's one of the best survival tools, to be honest with you, because the funnier somebody is, usually they've had a lot of trauma and they're probably pretty fueled by that trauma because they've had some interesting survival judo techniques that they've picked up along the way. And usually humor is probably one of the best ones, man, to be honest with you. So yeah, have your sense of humor, guys. Play, because this is not serious. Like, if you start taking this bitch seriously, that's when you don't get out alive. Just play, really. Bring that kid back out because they were snuffed out way too early. And there's a lot of fun to be had here in a realm that wants you to not see that, because that's where your freedom lies and its demise lies.
One more question before we go.
Bring it, Bob. I'm good, man. I'm chilling, dude. I still got more coffee. We're hanging out, bud. What
do you think we are close to real disclosure, or is it always just around the corner?
Disclosure. I'll be honest, I don't think we're ever going to get it. And if we do get it, I'm not looking forward to it. It's going to be an excuse to usurp rights. It's going to be not for our best interest, and it's not going to be something we're excited about. It's going to be something we've been told that we want, but it's not, because I don't feel it's authentic. I think if you look at the work of Thomas Horn and Chris Putnam, you've got Exo Vaticanus, excuse me, one of the best, I think, works on this and takes on it, how the Catholic Church and the Jesuits really apprehended the idea of aliens and are using it sort of as a scapegoat, but really it also might be actual demons that they're transferring into the realm, but they're disguising them as angels, and it's a good thing. So there's some very interesting rituals going on in that arena, and I feel that the disclosure that's going on, if we look at the realm from a place of that you are creating everything, okay? And that we say that what is in your mind is what manifests and what is created. Then if you're listening to the news, what's being manifest in your reality is what the news wants you to manifest. I think that there are creators here, and I think that there are whisperers here. And those are whisperers. Those are people that are whisper in your ear what they want you to focus your attention on and to talk about, so others focus their attention on, so they can see come to light. If you get the middleman out of that, if you turn the news off, guys, that's where its power is. It's the way they control us, only telling us what they want. Number one, Joanne, no one controls you, darling. They want that to be the case. And even by its very sentence right there, do you see how you cast that spell? It's the way they control us. Your subconscious does not know you're joking or that you're making a point. It takes you literally at your word. So the other thing, joking, oh, I'm such a dumbass, saying to yourself, like jokingly, that self-deprecating humor, your subconscious doesn't get it. So I don't call them elites. I don't call them controllers. They have no control over me, because the only control they can have over you is right here. They rent space in your mind. Other than that, that's it. There's nobody coming to kick your door down. There's no F-16 going to come bomb your house. There's none of that shit, guys. It's all right. They want you to think that. Wait till you get into nukes. Nuclear weapons probably aren't real. That's a mind thing. I've got a great friend, the Hacking Hoaxes. Check out her name is Tamara Cheville, and look at her Nuclear Hoaxes book. I've got it behind me here, but it's incredible. Look up Nuclear Hoaxes, Tam Cheville, and
Right.
look up Level Plane, Plane poem on Instagram. She's got all that stuff. But when you look into nukes, you think, well, why would they lie about that? Well, it's done a pretty damn good job, hadn't it? But they're probably not real. And then you tie into the nukes to the alien phenomena, where aliens are all telling everybody, oh, you guys got to shut the atomic weapons down. Well, aliens, we've come to figure out that they're actually not real. So why do you keep telling everybody that? Number one. Number two, I don't have any fucking nuclear weapons. The people you gave them to, or the people you gave all your technology to, they have them. So why don't you guys just go shut them down? Quit telling us to take nukes out of our back pocket we don't have and don't exist. So again, this idea that the aliens are probably working with the governments, if not a complete puppet, the governments are puppets of aliens, maybe being that the aliens really are our government. They're just their little puppets, because we would be terrified to know who really, air quotes, runs the show, even though they don't. But it's a very interesting thing, again, when we sort of contemplate all of these ideals, because no one rents space in your mind unless you let them, man. Just start booting people out. That's it. Evict the things in your mind that you don't want there, because that's what your reality is all about. Especially this nonsense fear. Let's get rid of it. Go play. It's a safe place to do so.
Right, one more question.
Yeah, man.
You talk a lot about self-responsibilities. Where do people most often lie to themselves?
That they can't. That's the biggest one, is that they're not capable, they're not worthy, they shouldn't be able to, they don't XYZ, they're not talented enough, they're not whatever enough, they don't have enough money, they don't have enough friends, they don't have enough support, they don't have enough blue. Any of the excuses you can get for functional freeze, meaning that you don't tackle the thing in front of you. That's the biggest one, man. That's the absolute biggest one. Yeah. Get rid of that mental slavery, guys. You're everything. You've got this. If you sit there and say it out loud to yourselves right now, say, I am God. How's that feel? Give it a go, Bob.
Yeah, you feel good. You feel God. Yes. How do you feel? Yeah.
How do you feel when you say, I am God, with your shoulders back, your head up, and you know that you are the creator of your life and that you're a sovereign being and that nothing can touch you? How does that feel? Where do you feel it in your body?
Feels great. Feels like I can help people.
Yeah. It's great. Some folks out there, if you feel a little twinge in your heart, a little stomach thing, little, oh my goodness, I couldn't possibly be God, because God, I have this idea of, I've been told what God is, and that's what God is, right? You have people made up your mind for you, because that's the thing. They're going to do their best to, guys. There's a thing called claim salvage, right? And if you're not using something, you don't have a right to it. Okay. So this goes back to the 1666 Sesquiquivy Act. And this was back in feudal UK, actually. Folks would leave their estates, maybe die, and then the land would sit vacant for years and years and years. So what they had to do is declare that a time limit was necessary for unclaimed property. Okay. That is 7 years. So what happens is a lot of times you guys have a lot more power than you think, because there's a lot of powers and privileges that you don't need to ask for that are already yours, that you didn't claim because you didn't know you had them. They were very hidden from you. But once you figure them out, all you do is claim them and they're yours instantly. The reason you haven't is because they're under salvage claim law. Again, the Sesquiquivy Act, you didn't know that they existed. So how could you have ever claimed them? And so therefore somebody else took stewardship over this estate for you. But once you figure that out, guys, you're very untouchable. But it's another big part of this. You've got to be able to manage that for it to be accessible to you. And if you can't, somebody else is going to run it for you, just like everything, just like your opinions, just like your attention, just like your time, any of it. I'm going to, Janice in the chat here, if there's no nukes, what hit Hiroshima? There's a lot of speculation on this. There's dirty bombs. There's all kinds of things like that. But one story that I would point you to is the man that was in both explosions at Nagasaki and Hiroshima. He was in the explosion at Nagasaki, hopped on a train and was late to his job, apologized for being late. It was all noted. And then it was in Hiroshima and it exploded as well. There are things called dirty bombs, but the place would not be inhabitable if the weapons were what they say they were. Same with Chernobyl or anything else. There's no possible way for the disaster to have occurred and the habitability afterwards with what they say is possible. Plus fission is not possible. That's another one. So check into those. And see, we're if no nukes, what hit Hiroshima? I was told Something hit Hiroshima. I saw pictures. I heard about it in school. This is another thing, guys. It's pictures on a screen. If you're letting that determine your reality, probably don't need to be God. If you can be that easily fooled as to think that history, something that perhaps breaks down to his story, and that there's a narrative at this realm that really does its best to limit your perspective of it, but you find that there's nothing wrong with the narrative of that, then this is why we don't have laser vision and teleportation yet. You can't be thinking that everything you're told is true all willy-nilly and then be given the powers of the universe. This is where the discernment comes in. And if we're just taking everything that everybody says and not questioning it, we don't deserve godhood. We really don't. The answer to life is a mastery of questions, guys.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Bob. You want to do one more? Janice? No. I don't know if the moon's... Janice, I'm going to ask you a question with your question. She writes, do you believe they landed on the moon? I'm going to ask you if you feel the moon's a place you can go.
No.
I don't know. I've never been there. I know that all the narratives presuppose the moon's a place you can go. When we get into toroidal field physics, it's probably much more likely an electromagnetic byproduct of, and actually pair of the sun. It's the lesser light because it's colder in moonlight than it is in shadow. And then if we look at the sun, you can even look at, Lear was talking about this, that it's not hot, it's an electromagnetic spectrum. Then if we look at the plane of inertia where we find ourselves, perhaps there is a hollow center in the middle that leads to an under or a summer land that's inverted. Maybe time goes backwards over there, we've talked about. And then maybe there's a black sun underneath that's actually the running engine of this, and the moon and the sun are simply optic byproducts of it. So it's when you look at those things, then do you think that you could go to an electromagnetic plasma ball is the question. And that's only, 33,000 miles up, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. No,
it's not far, and this is probably a contained environment, which is again why I think that all the telescopes are telling you to point out, but really all the stuff is in. I think that if you think about it, we're just sort of a bubble that you can surface in from the oceans, but really there's sort of a geode-type rock structure above us. It's probably electromagnetic plasma, definitely intentional, maybe an isolated chamber of some type to where the alchemical process of souls coming in here, creating and getting themselves out based on that, or they recycle until they do jettison out. It's again a part of a creation. The soul will come in, mix one part soul, one part realm, and then as it does its thing, it either gets eaten alive by the realm constantly, or it creates enough to eject itself and distill out as something else. Maybe that's the only damn way out of this place.
Well, we're about finished now. Thank you very much. Where can people get your books?
Oh, shit. Let's talk about... Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. I'm also a publisher, guys. Thank you, dude. Yeah. Okay, so we have a publishing house called Rediginal Publishing, and that's a word I made up. All words are made up, so we figured we'd do it too. It represents ridiculously original, Rediginal Publishing. So we actually... This little beauty is from a fan favorite of this show's. Philip Kinsella published his newest book, Eternal Avatar, with us, and Chris John Mays has amazing contributions to this as well. And it's got a brilliant forward by Joshua Cutchin. You know Josh, don't you? Mm. We had a brilliant cover design by a guy named Curtis Sopel out of Canada, and he did this just awesome Pleiadian being on the front, this swooping back. He's got Dogman, he's got Alien. Everything is so cool about this. And Philip and Chris just did an amazing job on this. So this is one we're very proud of. This is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. We have the ebook, hardback, and paperback available in that. And then one more that we have is by a guy named Eric Hollerbach. He is a comedian in Austin, Texas, very funny guy. And he wrote a memoir called Girls and the Demon's Deal. And it is awesome, guys. Same thing. Curtis Sopel did the cover, and then it's available on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, ebook, paperback, and hardback. And then I've got 10 journals that I created.
Yeah,
I have like series and stuff. I don't have any on me, actually. How funny. I just brought the other books for other people. I created like 10 journals. They're all up there. All up there too, guys, on Amazon if you want to check them out.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Just look for your name on Amazon. And
yeah, Brandon Thomas or Rediginal Publishing, RIDIGINAL.
Thank
cool.
you.
Bob, this was awesome. Have me back again, man. This was wonderful. Your audience is great. You're a delight, man. You already knew that.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'll book you again sometime in the year. No problem. Because everybody else says, but getting booked again.
Well, you guys are sweet. And look at that. And that's it, guys. Just know that it's your realm. This is your place. It really is. Anything that's made you feel small, know that its job was just to give you the feedback so that you could strengthen up. That's it. Nothing here is trying to keep you down. It's all trying to free you, honestly. It's all trying to free you.
Yeah.
Trying.
Brilliant.
See that verb?
Absolutely.
And another good one, Joanne, to your trying all that. Look up there's a meme that says, "I'm not a triceratops, I'm a deuceratops."
Oh.
And I love it. It's a triceratops like flexing.
Yes.
So look that one up. Look up deuceratops and save it, print it out. I've got that little meme. I send it to everybody all the time. It's a wonderful meme. And there you go. But thank you guys so much. Bob, again, thank you, brother.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody in the chat room for their questions as well.
Absolutely.